A 400-year-old kingdom, and for the last 200 years the throne has been matrilineal, relayed from one reign queen to another. Prior to that, the kingdom was ruled by kings for 2 centuries. In a sudden change of events, the families reverting back to the kinship of the dynasty, Masalanabo was set to assume the throne left by a deceased mother, Queen Makobo, in 2005.
It is not a deviation. Those who don't know our history, culture and tradition of Balobedu will take it that way, but it is not a deviation, because our traditional leadership is more than 400 years old. From 1600 to 1800, we were led by the kings. We had 6 kings who were ruling the nation. We had King Magapimo, who was followed by King Moale. We had King Malaja, King Pedrole, then King Kiale, and King Mugodo. And when in 1800 King Mugodo introduced a woman, we had 200 years up until 2005 where we were led by women. So if one can say that we are changing from women to men, is the one who doesn't know our history. Because all these kings have been controlling reign the way these women were controlling.
Cultural experts say the council has the prerogative to decide who should ascend the throne.
It is the royal family leading the Balobedu who can decide who is their ruler. Just like historically in 1800, when they decided that they were now going to be ruled by the matriarchs, the reign queens, it was the Balobedu themselves, led by the royal family, who decided that they were going to be ruled by the females.
Ordinary citizens have expressed their views on the matter. They normally call us to the royal house to communicate their decisions. They have not done that. They have to call us and explain. I support the coronation of the prince because the princess lives in Gauteng while her brother lives here. I think it is wise that they install the prince. I don't think the rain-making custom will be negatively affected, because even the prince will be able to do that. It is not yet clear if any legal challenge will be launched against the decision. Rutiano Bobode, SABC News, Balobedu.
And for more on this, we're joined by Advocate Ngoako Moropene, who is the legal representative for the Modjadji Council. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So please clarify this. Why does there seem to be a confusion about whether or not the council did ever make an official announcement over who was going to take over the queendom?
Good evening. Let me start by greeting you and to the viewers at home. And secondly, I need to correct you that I am not a legal representative of the Modjadji Royal Nation. I'm an independent legal practitioner who's practicing as an advocate of the High Court. And I have just written a legal opinion expressing my legal views insofar as the decision taken by Modjadji Royal Council to
we do apologize. We do apologize for that mistake. Yes. So just share your views about the confusion that seems to be swirling around whether or not the council is doing an about turn. What was your legal opinion of the events up until now?
Basically, perhaps I must just indicate that it boils down to the issue of illegality. Now, I'm going to confine my opinion to whether or not the decision from the Modjadji Royal Council is legitimate, and whether or not the decision will pass the constitutional muster or it will survive scrutiny before any other courts, if ever any legal challenge may arise as a result of that. And I would like to indicate that from my legal opinion, I've reflected the circumstances under which I believe that the Modjadji Royal Council have erred in making their own decision. And one of those issues that I've raised was that you will recall that in around 2018, there was a celebration at Makwetla Stadium where all the people that are residing in around Balobedu were called to come and celebrate the queenship status. So I was lucky to be one amongst the people that were present there. And at the time when that event unfolded, we were all told that then the queenship status is now officially handed over to the Modjadji Royal Council. And that Modjadji Royal Council will have to work with other senior traditional leaders from various traditional councils within the Greater Letaba region, which includes, amongst others, Sohopo, Rapatlelo, Pogo, and many others. Now, that decision was informed by the outcome of Tolo Commission, which the report had the recommendation that were approved by the President of the Republic of South Africa.
With the interest of time, Advocate Moropene, with the interest of time, please to bear in mind, if you can just truncate as much as possible what you can. So in 2016, I think it was a government who recognized the Balobedu queenship. But with that, was it expressly because the council then said that the Princess Masalanabo is the one who ought to be recognized, or is it, as it says now, that it never made any definitive announcement on who was to take over?
I think that is not what I know, because I've explained that that's what was conveyed to us there. So we all know that when Prince Mbabada, the regent, was addressing the members of the community, he confirmed, or rather affirmed, that he would be acting as a regent on behalf of the Queen-elect Masalanabo, who will take over when she reaches 18 years. But in any way, that is not for me to debate, because I want to address the legality of the decision that has been taken, whether or not it's legitimate. Okay. And that is where my expertise rests on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying the decision that was taken there, the Royal Council are governed or otherwise are bound to comply with the the Traditional Leadership Governance Framework Act. It is established in terms of this legislative framework. So now, if they take a decision like that to say that the queenship will then have to be, the leader of the queenship in the Modjadji Royal Council will have to be Masalanabo and later on change. That is a decision that if they want to change, they need to apply before the High Court by way of a review. To set aside that decision is what we call self-review. And even if they were to do that, the court will have to exercise its discretion whether or not the decision is rational. And if it is rational, is it connected to the purpose for which it was meant to be?
Okay.
So
can I understand something? At the core of what you're saying, maybe deemed illegal, is it because this is considered matrilineal, and now this development makes it patrilineal, or what do you find to be at the core of what you are questioning?
Definitely. The queenship, the Tolo Commission doesn't talk about the kingship. Now, if you change the queenship status to kingship status, you ought to first challenge the Tolo Commission. You need to set aside that report by way of a review. If you don't do that, so you are not legitimately allowed to change the findings which were approved by the President and the Parliament willy-nilly. And in fact, what matters worse is the fact that the decision that they've taken earlier on or previously, they want to change it on their own without following due process. They must apply to court to set aside their own decision and allow those people that are affected to then object if they want to object or otherwise to state the other side of their story in court.
It's a pity we have run out of time, because I did want to ask you about those who contend the fact that from the 1600s to the 1800s, males were also rulers of the queendom. But thank you so much for speaking to us. Advocate Ngoako Moropene, as you heard him say, he is a legal expert.